Welcome to the Global Cuisine Championship, where 72 national cuisines will go head-to-head in a culinary showdown like no other. In this tournament, your favorite food from every corner of the world will battle it out for supremacy in a knockout competition. Will spicy Thai flavors outshine savory Italian classics? Or will Mexican street food conquer French fine dining? I can't wait to find out.
But here's the twist. You decide who advances.
Each week, at least two cuisines face off, and your votes determine which one moves closer to the title of the world's greatest cuisine. At the start of each week, I'll release a video on Global Community going over the previous results and to preview the upcoming matchups. We'll also put out short videos of the competing cuisines to help you decide who to vote for. You can cast your vote in the comments of the video, the Global Community tab, and or by liking the quick explanation of each cuisine, which you can find on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, and TikTok. If you have a favorite, feel free to vote on more than one platform. And tell your friends. The country with the most votes after 3 days of voting wins.
To make sure the brackets are fair, I used the most recent rankings from Taste Atlas to seed each individual country.
The top 56 ranked countries got an automatic place in our 64-country tournament, with the remaining 16 left to battle it out in the play-in tournament.
With all that out of the way, let's do this.
I am number one, not number two. If I'm not the one, I'm uncomfortable.
Here's a preview of the 8 play-in competitions to see who will fill out the final 64.
In the first match, former Yugoslavian countrymen North Macedonia and Slovenia square up in a matchup we'll call You Go On to Face the number 1 seed. Our other competition that begins this week is between Scandinavian nations Norway and Finland. The winner of the Lapland Lunch-Off will play the number 2 seed of the European bracket, France. Our third playoff involves our first battle between Caribbean nations, in which Cuba takes on Jamaica. The winner of the Reggae vs. Rumba Rumble takes on number 1 seed Portugal in the East vs. West bracket. Puerto Rico then faces Haiti. Puerto Rico is one of the few entries that aren't actually a country of their own, but their distinct culinary style gives them a chance to be in the main draw. The winner of the Taino vs. Taino takedown meets Goliath China in the East vs. West bracket. Pakistan takes on Palestine in the Flavors of the Crescent cook-off. Can non-nation Palestine topple the much larger Pakistan? If they can, their reward will be taken on number 2 overall seed Japan in the Asian bracket. Just next door is our next participant, Israel, who called in their sous chef to take on Armenia. The winner of the Kosher vs. Caucasus clash will meet Indonesia, where anything can happen. Ethiopia and Azerbaijan will be next. Ethiopian cuisine has been spreading around the world in recent decades, while Azerbaijan is a Central Asian powerhouse. The winner of the Grains vs. Flames face-off gets culinary giants Greece in the United Nations bracket. And our last play-in will be between Bolivia and Tunisia. The winner of our Andes vs. Atlas arena cooks off against one of the favorites of the tournament, Mexico.
Let's take a look at the first play-in involving Slovenia,
the northwesternmost region of the now-defunct Yugoslavia, and their former countrymen North Macedonia, Yugoslavia's southeasternmost region. With related backgrounds, these Balkan buddies share some similarities, such as common influences from Mediterranean, Ottoman, and Central European cuisines. The winner will go on to compete against Italy, the number 1 seed in our European bracket and the number 1 seed overall.
Roll the tape so we can learn more about North Macedonian cuisine.
North Macedonian cuisine is a tasty mix of Mediterranean and Balkan flavors, blending Turkish, Greek, and Slavic influences. Macedonian food features fresh vegetables, meats, and spices. Common ingredients include tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, and onions, often used in stews and salads. What makes Macedonian food special is the focus on local seasonal ingredients and traditional cooking, usually slow-cooked or roasted. The national dish of North Macedonia is tauche grouche, a traditional bean stew made with white beans, onions, peppers, and spices, often baked in a clay pot. Kebapi are grilled minced meat sausages, usually served with chopped onions and fresh bread. And pasmajlia is a boat-shaped flatbread topped with chunks of seasoned, dried meat, and sometimes eggs are added during baking. North Macedonia is right in the middle of one of the culinary hubs of the world. Their neighbors include fellow participants Greece, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Croatia, Serbia, so I have a feeling they're going to do a lot better than maybe some people would think.
So what do you think? I guess I could use a co-host. In a closely ranked matchup, let's see what Slovenia has to offer.
Slovenian cuisine is a tasty mixture of flavors influenced by Slovenia's varied landscapes and cultures, including Mediterranean, Alpine, and Pannonian traditions. Slovenian food has been influenced by neighboring Italy, Austria, Hungary, and the rest of the Balkans. It focuses on fresh local ingredients, celebrating seasonal fruits and vegetables, dairy products, and meats. The national dish of Slovenia is idrija z likrofi, buckwheat dumplings filled with seasoned potatoes and onions, typically served with a meat sauce. Patika is a traditional rolled cake filled with various fillings such as walnuts, poppy seeds, or honey. Slovenia is also known for its excellent wine regions, producing high-quality wines that pair well with its food. Traditional cooking methods like slow cooking and smoking add depth to many of its dishes. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. In our first matchup, you go on to face the number 1 seed. North Macedonia and Slovenia are really close in terms of Taste Atlas rank, North Macedonia being number 61 and Slovenia being 64th. Slovenia doesn't have any of the top-ranked foods by category, whereas North Macedonia does. Ivar is voted as the number 1 relish and the number 2 dip or spread. Pindor is the number 4 relish. They both have asterisks next to their names, however, because whereas Ivar and Pindor were credited to North Macedonia by Taste Atlas, there are any number of countries that can claim them. Slovenia is home to one of the top 150 iconic food places in the world. Not even going to try to say the name, but it can be found in the city of Bled. But what I think is going to really separate the two is how people feel about the flavor category. North Macedonian cuisine is spicier, whereas Slovenian cuisine is a bit more natural. Quite honestly though, it could go either way. I can't wait to see what happens in the voting. Of course, vote for which cuisine you like more in the comments.
For our second play-in match, we head north to pair up Norway and Finland, who meet up in the Lapland lunch-off.
Maybe we should ask the Sami who does food better. Fish is a major staple in both Norwegian and Finnish cuisine, and you'll find smoking, pickling, and curing fish to be popular in both countries. Norway and Finland have a strong dairy culture, and both cuisines have developed based on adapting to harsh cold weather, with the people of both nations having to endure in the winter months. Here's a closer look at each of the country's food strengths. Norwegian food is based on the country's natural environment and old traditions, with simple and filling meals. It often features fresh fish like salmon, cod, and herring, which makes sense because Norway has a long coastline. People also eat lamb, reindeer, and other wild meats along with potatoes and root vegetables. The national dish is fårikål, a simple yet hearty stew made from lamb or mutton, cabbage, and whole black peppercorns. The ingredients are layered in a pot and simmered slowly, allowing for the flavors to blend. Lefse is a traditional Norwegian flatbread made from potatoes, flour, butter, and cream, typically served with butter and sugar or used to wrap savory fillings. And jutboller are Norwegian meatballs made from ground beef or a mix of meats, seasoned with spices like nutmeg and allspice.
And who has the jute balls to square up with them? That's right, the Finns.
Finnish food is known for being simple and using natural, seasonal ingredients from the country's forests and lakes. Common dishes include fish like salmon and herring, as well as meats such as reindeer, elk, and pork. Staples in Finnish meals include potatoes, rye bread, and berries like lingonberries and cloudberries. Finnish cuisine stands out by mixing influences from Eastern Europe and Scandinavia, focusing on fresh, local flavors, especially foraged ingredients like mushrooms and wild berries. The national dish is the Karelian stew, made with a mix of meats, usually beef and pork, slow cooked with root vegetables like carrots and onions. It's often served with potatoes or rye bread. Lohikeito is a creamy Finnish salmon soup made with fresh salmon, potatoes, leeks, and dill. And Karelian pasties are Finnish pastries made with a thin rye crust filled with rice or mashed potatoes. In another closely contested match, Norway has the higher seed, but Finland can hold its own. For the Norwegians, their top dish is lutefisk, which is a saltwater fish dish. The top-rated dish for the Finns is loimalohi. I'm sure I butchered that, in which the fish is nailed to a wooden board and heated over an open fire. Norway is home to one of the top 100 cheeses. The Finnish aren't, but they're really well known for their Finnish squeaky cheese. Norwegian salmon was rated the number 1 seafood in the world, and rokelaks, which is basically smoked salmon, ranks 4th. The Norwegian salmon was also voted the number 1 preserved fish in the world. The Finns have the number 5 beer style in the world, which is Baltic Porter, and they're also known for their reindeer pizza. The Norwegians eat more lamb and game meat, whereas the Finns go a little heavier on pork, beef, and reindeer.
That does it for this week. Voting starts now and will continue for the next 3 days.
Just put the country you vote for in the comments, and if you could, let us know why. Be sure to check in next week to see who advances, and we'll be highlighting a couple more cuisines to get this competition going.
In the meantime, I've already profiled a number of the countries in the tournament. Check them out if you get the opportunity. Until next time, thank you for taking your time to learn more about our global community.